Joining us now in studio, Javier Manjarres, managing editor of the Shark Tank, that great political website, and by telephone, as she's making the move from Washington to New York, Democratic strategist Bridget Todd. Bridget, we know you're busy, and as you're packing and unpacking boxes, Bridget, tell us why the interest in Africa. Is President Obama seeking to cement his legacy?
You know, I hope so. I think it's a great opportunity to do just that. You know, I completely agree that this has been, the interest in sort of having Africa be, this prosperous continent is something that I think that previous presidents have also done a lot of good with. I think that, Clinton had some good stuff, and as did Bush. And I think that I would love to see Obama sort of join the ranks of presidents who are really trying to help things there.
Now, Bridget, we depend on you for the dish from the Democrat Party. And I know you're straight. I know that everything is sweetness and light, but come on, level with us. Do you think any of this was spurred by Hillary Clinton's recent public comment that she's proud to be an American because of George W. Bush's work in Africa? I mean, you said nice things about President Bush, too, but the fact that Hillary said it, did it spur a little competition and have our current president say, I better get in on this philanthropic endeavor in Africa as well?
It could. I mean, I'm certainly not going to say that might not be part of it. I think this is the kind of competition that we have with our leaders. It's the kind of competition that I'm completely for. Competition to see who can have the best legacy when it comes to sort of African trade and sort of humanitarian efforts in Africa. So if it's indeed part of some sort of competition between Bush and Obama, totally fine with that.
Javier, you've been waiting patiently to get in on this thing. The African Summit, all kidding aside and slips of the tongue by reporters and vice presidents alike. What is your take on this? Even looking back to what George W. Bush did, I remember that night I was in the House chamber at the conclusion of that joint address when he talked about that multi-billion-dollar commitment to the continent of Africa to fight AIDS and other diseases. To me, it sounded great. To a lot of my colleagues said, wait a minute, JD, we got problems here. We can't be spending that dough.
I just hope those slip of the tongues don't spur another round of birther issues or birther.
Well, I know you can put your own unique spin on it on your website, sharktank.com.
Yeah, but look, at the end of the day, one thing to point out is President Obama is now jumping on the Africa bandwagon. From my recollection, when President Bush started dealing with Africa, and also he actually gave more aid to the fight against AIDS with the help of U2 singer Bono. Back when he was president, early on in his administration. This is part of President Bush's legacy. He did it throughout the 8 years he was president. President Obama is doing it now. Look, I'm not going to condemn him for just doing it, being late to the party, if you would. But if he makes a valiant effort, he makes a concerted effort to help the cause. So be it. Whether he's pandering, whether he's playing politics, you can't blame him for trying to do something good in Africa.
Well, gang, we can't resist taking just another little look back at Joe Biden. Actually, it's not us. Take a look. Jimmy Fallon, now on The Tonight Show, doing his monologue. He decided to take comedic aim at our vice president, and here's the way it went down on The Tonight Show on NBC.
Here's what everyone's talking about. While speaking at an African leadership summit yesterday, Vice President Joe Biden accidentally referred to Africa as a country instead of a continent. To be fair, most of what he knows about Africa is based on The Lion King. So it's just... And Obama plays it for him on long car rides.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, he's asleep on it. He's asleep.
Now, traditionally, anyone who serves as vice president especially becomes the target of ridicule and the grist for the late night monologues. But Bridget, serious question about Joe Biden. He has made no secret of his ambitions to move from vice president to president. In your mind, does Vice President Biden have a chance to be the Democratic nominee in 2016?
I think gas aside, listen, I think that Biden is someone who says what's on his mind. He has been pretty outspoken about certain issues, even at times splitting with the White House, splitting with President Obama to, say what it is that he wants to say. I actually don't think that will prevent him from being, a potential front runner for the election. I think that folks really appreciate that. Sometimes it doesn't come off well, like you're, clubbing, confident nation. Obviously sometimes it doesn't work out in his favor, but I think that most people appreciate that they might be getting some sort of off-the-cuff comments as opposed to somebody who was just sort of reading a script or sticking to a very careful set of talking points.
Well, there's an interest. The politician in me, Bridget, gives me I'm not here to do the thing. I'll let Javier get his say on Joe Biden and presidential ambitions.
Look, I'm going to say that maybe he got confused with South Africa and Africa. I don't know. But look, president's ambitions, he wants to run. I would welcome it. I actually welcome a Joe Biden bid for president because it'd be entertaining. I'd be traveling around the whole country with my video camera on because I'd love to get one of the many gaps that we can assume are going to come down because this is Joe Biden. Look, and I respect the fact that he's off the cuff. He says what he means. Sometimes, off color, but very funny all the time. So I welcome it. I think he'll run.
And Bridget, back to you on the future prospects for 2016. What do you rate all this talk about Elizabeth Warren getting into the race as a freshman senator from Massachusetts, perhaps to challenge Hillary Clinton? I guess the bottom line is this, Bridget. Is Hillary inevitable as the Democratic nominee?
I wouldn't say inevitable. I certainly would love to see, both that Warren and Clinton be involved and sort of duke it out. I think that Warren has this great popular swell of support, and I think that a lot of folks kind of like the message that's sending out about the middle class, sort of helping your average Joe and taking on Wall Street. I think that that's a message that folks really need to hear right now. So I would welcome her in 2016.
And of course, well, let's see, from the standpoint of a strategist, if you get Warren and Clinton and Biden and who knows what else in a race, it's more jobs for Democrat strategists, right, Bridget? That doesn't hurt. Chance to work on assignments.
I'd say Bridget goes with Biden.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to switch sides of the aisle right now. We'll let Bridget make her own plans. Let's talk about last night's primary in Tennessee. Senator Lamar Alexander hangs on, defeating State Senator Joe Carr there in the volunteer state. Bridget, the Tea Party is demonized not only by Democrats but by establishment Republicans. When you look at what happened in Tennessee, what is your take on the Republican Party vis-a-vis the Tea Party?
I think it's absolutely the wrong strategy to too quickly say that the Tea Party can't represent, American folks and their interests. I think that, I do think that this idea that they're going to be able to challenge, established Republicans, I wonder if that's actually possible. But I don't think it's in anybody's best interest to discredit them so quickly. I think that there's still a possibility that that the voters might connect with their platform and their issues. And I think anybody that tells you otherwise is sort of speaking too soon.
What about it, Javier? Look, conservative grassroots, whether you call it Tea Party, whatever else, there has been a rift in the party. You're seeing these primaries. Will there be a reconciliation before the midterms in November?
As far as between the Tea Party activists and establishment, I don't think so. I think look, these elections tell you one thing. People are undecided on who they want to represent. Look, you have some states you have the Tea Party candidate, so-called Tea Party candidate, winning. Other states like Lamar Alexander, he wins. Again, it's a toss-up. I think Americans are just kind of tired of both sides, and they want to deal with issues and issues alone. And again, money talks in politics, and whoever has the most money, most influence wins.
Well, money can prove a point. I know I've been through some races where I had more than my opponents, and that usually worked, and sometimes when it didn't, the other way around. Bridget Todd, they're in transit. Good luck on your move. Thanks for spending time with us, and we appreciate you checking in by phone. And, of course, Javier Manjarres, being willing to come here in studio means a great deal to us. Thanks so much.
For having me.
Well, you heard from the strategists, from the commentators, their analysis. What is your take on what will happen with the Democrats and what's going to happen with the Tea Party and the Republicans? Why don't you tweet us your comments at NewsmaxTV, #America's Forum, and our program will continue following this time out.